You can find a lot of fun and quirky things in shop like this one. At first, you may think it's just a trinket that would be perfect to decorate your home for Halloween. Or you might find a silly message in a bottle in front of you. You may have often seen this in gift shops. The messages there are always the same. But in places like this, things have no price, because only you can decide how much their story is worth. Like everything here, this message in a bottle is unique. It's not a souvenir, it's a story. And that story you can find out in my rarity shop in The Sims 4, where I will be your storyteller. Temperance, do you know who that is? I've never seen him in town before. No, but he looks extraordinary, and I think our ladies are going to marry him already. Listen, Monsieur Guidry. He's recently arrived in Willow Creek and he's already met the Johnsons. He's so handsome. I wonder if he's married? Oh, Millie, you're certainly not his type. Everyone knows that gentlemen prefer blondes. Gentlemen may prefer blondes, but they certainly don't prefer married blondes, and I'm single, unlike you. I heard that Monsieur Guidry is a vampire hunter that's so extraordinary and interesting. I think he's a collector of rarities, and he came to Willow Creek to find a special artifact. What's the difference? He's certainly very rich if he can devote his life to such nonsense. And he'd already met the Johnsons. They wouldn't accept some vagabond in their circle. What a mercenary you are! I fell in love with one smile of his. I just have to figure out to get him to pay attention to me, and he'll fall in love with me for sure. After all, it's not every day you meet such a pure and sincere girl. What a scary movie! I still feel like I'm shaking. Monsieur Guidry, perhaps you could lend me a jacket? Don't worry, mon chéri. Vampires are not dangerous if you know how to protect yourself from them. Ha! Monsieur Guidry, you're a joker. If you don't want to be afraid of vampires, my dear, you just don't have to watch horror movies. Just because you don't believe in vampires doesn't mean one day one of them won't break in your house. This movie was so realistic. How would the actor know how real vampires behave if he never met them? No. I believe that only someone who was a victim of a vampire could have made such a movie. You shouldn't laugh at your wife, because she's right. Expect that the author came up with this story not because he met a real vampire, but because he studied the legends and myths about vampires. But why were they written? Don't tell me you believe in vampires! I believe there's a bit of truth in the legends. That's why I'm in Willow Creek. Once upon a time there were vampires here, the aristocratic ghost family. You know them, right? Of course I've heard of them. They were horrible people who managed to take over almost all the business in Willow Creek. They intimidated people into giving the ghost family everything. No wonder they were called vampires. They were so cruel that no one would want to call them human. Yes, but why else were they called vampires? I think you've heard that they did strange rituals with blood in the cemetery. They grow strange glowing plants in the garden that they called bloody fruit. You'd say they believed themselves to be vampires. Others would say they were insane. And I think that's true. But it doesn't matter. All that matter are the facts. And the ghost family lived unusually long for ordinary people. They didn't even grow old if you look at the pictures. Or rather, the generation that set it all up never died before our eyes. They left town for no reason. Someone forced them to leave. Someone who had magic and power. And that proves to you that they were vampires? What's the special thing about being a vampire? It's immortality. I don't know if the ghost family were vampires, but I'm sure they knew the secret of immortality. They had to flee in a hurry from Willow Creek, where the source of immortality was. It took me quite a while to find out that when they arrived in Tortosa, the strangery quickly grew old and died. The source of immortality is still here, and I want to find it. If you are interested, I can tell you more. My business could use some new partners and investments. Let's play cards. I want to watch the mysterious Monsieur Guidry. You're crazy! Have you fallen in love with him, made up story like everyone else? Don't worry, sister. I think he's a charlatan, but I wonder what he really wants. And we're going to expose him. Do you remember when we used to play detective games as kids? I think I was wrong. He's not a charlatan. A ghost stands next to him and tells him what his opponent's cards are. I can't call it a fair game, but he didn't lie about one thing. He does know a little more about the other world than normal people do. Your powers have always frightened me. I still can't figure out if you really see ghosts or if you're just joking. But one thing is sure. Monsieur Guidry is just making money fooling rich people like Mr. Johnson. Not only does he beat him at cards for big money, but he's already talked him into investing in his business of finding an immortality potion. You can go home if you want, but I want to get to know better the one person who has the same powers as I do.
surprised that a rich man like you, Monsieur Guidry, would stay in a hotel that wasn't the best. I hope you rented a room for a ghost. Or do you keep him in the closet? Oh, of course. I would assume you carry it in your purse, but you don't have one. I prefer him to walk lovely ladies like you home. It's late. Who knows what monsters live in the darkness, and I didn't want anything to happen to you. Besides, you won't be bored walking home alone, because you can see ghosts too, right? Just don't lock him in a closet. He's afraid of tight spaces. I prefer to take care of ghosts, rather than have them help me cheat at cards. Why are you cheating on Mr. Johnson? Why did you really come to Willow Creek? People have decided for themselves that I am rich, but as you rightly pointed out, I live in a cheap hotel and I don't have that much money, but I do have powers. If I see ghosts, why don't I ask them to help me win some money at cards? Why are you here? I'm looking for a portion of immortality. You heard that right? Of course. You don't believe me? Let's meet tomorrow in the main square. You'll help me in my search and see for yourself that I'm a collector first and only a crook after that. I hope you're upset. That girl can really see ghosts and she doesn't need glasses to do it. She's special. And you can't do anything without your rarities. Expect I can put you in a battle again and summon another ghost. She can see you, but I can use you to my advantage. But you're right, she's special, and she can be useful in my searching.